Okay, lift your side higher.
I've got it! Look at that view! This spot is absolutely perfect. I can't believe we made it.
Four friends, Davik, Lena, Chingbi, and Dungwei, are cheerfully setting up a tent in the middle of a pristine snowy valley. Their laughter echoes in the crisp, cold air. The sun shines brightly, promising a perfect camping trip. On the highest peaks, where beauty and harshness coexist, humans come to test their own limits. But sometimes, it is nature itself that sets the test. The sky begins to change. Dark gray clouds roll in from the west, obscuring the sun. A sudden, cold gust of wind blows through, fluttering the small prayer flags that Kai had hung on the tent. And looks up, a flicker of concern crossing his face. Nature in the high country is always fickle. A moment of peace can quickly be replaced by a silent warning. The first snowflakes begin to fall, light and sparse. Kai holds out her hand to catch them, smiling. She still thinks this is just a passing snow shower, part of winter's beauty. Innocence can be a blessing, but in the fight for survival, it is often the first sign of complacency.
I can't believe you actually
Inside the tent, the atmosphere is cozy. They play cards, drinking hot tea from a thermos. The sound of falling snow and whistling wind outside is just background music, enhancing the feeling of safety and seclusion. The illusion of safety is a sweet trap. The thin wall of nylon is the only boundary between life and nature's fury. The storm hits. The wind gusts violently, shaking the tent as if it's about to be torn apart. The laughter dies, replaced by a tense silence. Bao and Dung have to hold the tent poles from the inside. This is no longer a snow shower. This is a blizzard, and they are in the very heart of it. The harsh reality begins to creep into their awareness. And tries to turn on the satellite radio. He turns the dial, searching for a signal, but all he gets is the crackle of static, drowned out by the roar of the storm. His expression turns grim. The last connection to the outside world has been severed. Now, they are completely alone. Night falls, but there is no darkness. Outside is an endless white, a whiteout that erases all lines, all direction. The light from their headlamps only penetrates a few meters before being swallowed by the wall of snow. A claustrophobic feeling takes over. In a blizzard, space becomes a prison without walls. The endlessness of the white is what imprisons them. Bao, the most pragmatic one, begins to take stock of the food and fuel. He lays out the energy bars, packets of noodles, and small gas canisters. Their meager quantity lies starkly on the ground sheet, an alarming truth. When hope of rescue fades, a new currency emerges: calories and heat. The real fight isn't against the storm, but against time.
It collapsed. The pole snapped in half.
A loud, ominous crack echoes. One of the main tent poles on the windward side has bent severely. The tent fabric in that corner sags, and snow begins to blow in through a small gap. Panic begins to set in. Their fortress has shown its first weakness. Every failure, no matter how small, is a step closer to disaster. The four of them huddle together in the center of the tent, away from the damaged corner. Their eyes meet in the dim light. There is no more innocence, no more easy optimism. There is only a cold, primal determination: survive. The first night has only just begun. The true test of endurance, of friendship, and of the will to live, awaits them. And quickly directs a repair. Bao uses a trekking pole to splint the broken tent pole, while Dung and Kai use the last of the duct tape to wrap it tightly. Their gloves are stiff with cold, their fingers clumsy, but desperation drives them. In the battle for survival, ingenuity is born from necessity. Every object can become a life-saving tool, and every action is a declaration against surrender. And gathers everyone. He takes out the meager remaining food and methodically divides it into 4 equal portions. Each portion consists of 1 energy bar and a small handful of trail mix per day. The silence in the tent is heavy as they stare at their tiny rations. The mathematics of survival are brutal. Every calorie is calculated, Every delayed meal is a gamble on the future. Friendship is now measured in absolute fairness.
I told you this was a mistake.
Dung
We shouldn't
cannot
have come
stay
this way.
silent.
Now
Is this
look
it?
at us.
He growls.
We are fine.
We need energy.
keep moving
And calmly
and conserve
replies,
breath.
we need to survive. If we
told
eat it
you
all
this
now,
would happen.
we'll starve later.
Don't you
The
dare
confrontation
blame this on me. It
erupts,
is your
shattering their
fault.
fragile unity. Hunger is a traitor. It gnaws not only
won't
at the
last
body
the
but
night
also
on
at
an
the
empty
spirit,
stomach.
turning allies into adversaries. The first crack in their bond has appeared. The cold becomes relentless. The duct tape repair shrinks in the freezing temperature, and a constant draft of icy air seeps into the tent. They shiver uncontrollably, teeth chattering. Body heat dissipates rapidly. Hypothermia is a silent killer. It doesn't attack, it infiltrates, stealing life slowly with every shiver, blurring the line between sleep and death. Delirious from cold and fear, Kai starts hearing things. She insists she hears music, the voices of a rescue team calling their names. She tries to throw open the tent flap to go outside, and Bao has to physically struggle to hold her back. When the body surrenders, the mind can become the greatest enemy. Hallucinations, a false beacon of hope, can lead to fatal actions. The last gas canister, and knows they need water to avoid dehydration, but melting snow will consume all their remaining fuel. With no fuel, there will be no more hot water, no more hot meals. He looks at his friends and makes the decision. He lights the stove. Sometimes, survival demands a sacrifice. Trading the future for a chance to survive the present. That tiny flame holds all their hope and their desperation. The groaning of the tent fabric becomes alarming, and realizes the accumulating snow on the roof is threatening to collapse it. He and Bao take turns, using their hands and shoulders to push forcefully against the tent ceiling from the inside to make the snow slide off. It's an exhausting, repetitive task. Their enemy has a tireless ally, gravity. Each snowflake is harmless, but millions combine into an unbearable weight. Driven by hunger and desperation, Dung moves stealthily in the dark, thinking everyone is asleep. He slowly unwraps a hoarded energy bar. A tiny rustle sounds, and in the faint light, he sees Kai watching him. No words are spoken, only a look of profound disappointment and hurt. Dung freezes. In the most extreme circumstances, primal instinct can override reason. Betrayal needs no words, a single glance is enough to shatter trust. A loud tearing sound echoes. Their efforts were not enough. A large section of the tent roof, directly above Dung and the supplies, rips open under the weight of snow.
Dung.
A cascade of white pours in, burying Dung to his waist and covering all the food in the stove. Nature does not judge, it simply acts. And when it acts, its power is absolute. Their fortress has been brutally breached. The snow from the collapsed roof has piled up, blocking their only exit. They try to dig, but the snow outside has also accumulated high, turning the door into a solid wall. Their tiny space is now smaller, colder, and wetter. They are trapped, truly trapped. From a shelter, the tent has become a tomb. Their worst fear has become reality. They are no longer fighting the storm outside, but the tomb that is slowly closing in around them. In the near absolute darkness, the four sit motionless, huddled in the remaining space. Their breaths are weak. The silence is broken only by the sound of wind whistling through the hole in the roof and the soft trickle of falling snow. Despair has become tangible, a cold presence in the tent. There is a moment in every survival struggle when the body and mind collectively accept defeat. This is not a panicked surrender, but a terrifying stillness, the quiet before the end. Dung, buried in snow and guilt, begins to cry, not from fear, but from remorse. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "It's all my fault," and, instead of anger, places a trembling hand on Dung's shoulder. "We got here together," he says weakly. "We'll leave together, or we won't." In the darkest hour, human nature can shine. Forgiveness becomes the final act of defiance, an affirmation that friendship is stronger than even the survival instinct. An's words seem to have rekindled a spark. He remembers something, the tiny ice axe in the first aid kit, meant for chopping ice in an emergency. He slowly pulls it out. It's small, but it's a steel blade. A flicker of hope. Hope doesn't need to be a great flame. Sometimes, it is just a tiny spark in the darkness, enough to illuminate the next step. A plan is formed without words, and will use the axe to dig upwards, through the hole in the roof. It is the only way. He positions himself under the hole, takes a deep breath, and swings the first blow into the packed snow above. Action is the antidote to despair. The first swing of the axe breaks not just the snow, but the paralysis that held them captive. The work is incredibly exhausting. They take turns, each person digging for a few minutes until exhausted, then the next takes over. The snow they dig down fills their cramped living space, forcing them to press against the tent walls. This is a race between exhaustion and the depth of the snow. Every inch dug is a victory, but also a step closer to the final limits of their endurance. Kai is digging when the axe suddenly breaks through. A burst of blinding light and frigid air floods in. She screams, not in fear, but in triumph. She uses her hands, frantically clawing at the snow, and her bloody, scraped hand emerges from the snow's surface, into the open air. From darkness into light, from a tomb back into the world. It is a moment of rebirth, painful and glorious. One by one, they climb out of their snowy tomb. They stand on the surface, shivering, blinded. The sight is overwhelming. The storm has passed. The valley is transformed into an alien world, a rippling ocean of white under a clearing sky. Their tent is just a small bump in the ground. They have survived the night, but the battle is not over. Now they are exposed, without shelter, in a vast and indifferent world. The first ray of sunlight breaks through the parting clouds, striking them. It is not warm, but it is brilliant. They look up, their gaunt faces bathed in golden light. For a moment, they forget the cold, the hunger, and just feel the light on their skin. Light. After so long in darkness and monochrome white, it is the most powerful thing in the world. It is not just the end of the storm, it is a promise. A strange sound, not the wind, echoes from the distance. A faint, rhythmic whop whop whop. They look at each other, not daring to believe. Then they scan the horizon. A tiny black dot is growing larger. A helicopter. They begin to scream, wave, and jump up and down with their last ounce of energy. The sound of salvation. After days of hearing only the roar of nature, the sound of a machine has never been sweeter music. The red rescue helicopter hovers above them, the downdraft from its rotors whipping up the snow around them. A rescuer rappels down. The four friends hug each other tightly, looking up, as salvation
Chief.
finally arrives.
We've got you.
They faced nature's fury
Keep
and
this blanket
survived.
tight and stay
Pushed to the
warm.
brink, they
We're
found
getting
not
outta
just
here
their
now.
limits, but the strength of forgiveness and friendship. They return not as conquerors, but as humbled survivors, forever changed by the roar of the blizzard.